Well, hello there again, friends. Today is 1/10/2022. It is Monday, and this is Odin Project Vlog Day 36. Um, I did have time to upload a quick video. I know yesterday I said I wasn't going to have time today, but the exercises I was able to get to them today, and they weren't that long, so I'm able to bang out a quick upload for you guys. So. Uh, Foundations, I'm 67% complete. Happy to say that. Moving right along. So we're heading down here, and we're hitting up fundamentals part 2. And so it goes right into learning outcomes, as we had already talked about, strings, conditionals that we went in the last video. And so I finished up these two articles and then did this tutorial. And then down here it's a practice session. So I'll just read it aloud to you here if you haven't gotten to it yet. It says, to give you a good bit of practice, we have created some, I'm going to butcher this, but repl.it exercises for you to play with. Honestly, never heard of this before, probably because I don't have a developer background. I'm newbie, so leave me a comment and let me know how you pronounce it. We believe that it's best practice to program on your own computer rather than an online environment, but we'll get to that soon enough. Be sure to do lessons in order presented here. Pressing run at the top will run the code. Read all directions, watch the terminal, and read all the errors. Don't forget to use console.log extensively. To get started, create a free REPL account and click fork in order to have access to the exercises. Note, feel free to browse the files on left column in order to gain familiarity with it. So I won't go through the exercise of creating an account because that's pretty easy. But what you do here is once you create an account, you hit exercise 1 link, and it will go ahead and bring this nonsense on the side up here. But what you do is you hit this button here to fork REPL, and I won't do it because I've already done it up here. So we're going to go through each one by one, and I'll show you the exercise and I'll show you the solution that I did. So here you go to troubleshooting.js, because in the description it says in this exercise you'll be working out of the file called troubleshooting.js. So you go here, but that image is super distracting. But anyway, or motion. The function below should log the number 2, however it does not. See if you can fix it. Excuse me. Be sure to fix it with the spirit of the code. Do not hard code the result. And then, so if you run it as is, so let's go through it real quick. So you have a function. We haven't really went over functions all that much, but you have a function called troubleshooting, and it's in taking two constant variables. A is taking the value 1 and B is taking the value 1, and you're creating a variable called result, and then the result will contain the parens of A plus B. If you read through the documentation thoroughly, you will realize that this is not going to result in 1 plus 1 like it's hoping. So the function below should log the number 2, but it won't. So if you run it, it says you return string AB. The resulting should be number 2. So explaining it through. So what it did was it concatenated. So instead of, if you remember, anything inside of a single quote or double quote parentheses is going to be a string. So what it did is it literally just said the browser thought that you wanted to take the string A plus the string B, which you concatenate them together with a plus, so it'd just be AB. Instead, what we need to do is we wanted it to do 1 plus 1. So in order to do that, all you have to do simply is to take the double quotes off each, and now it becomes a variable instead of a string. So now it will say A plus the variable b. See, it highlights it. Nice. I kind of like this repl.it program, or Replit, or whatever you call it, but it's pretty cool. And then you run it, and you're kind of like CodePen. It kind of reminds me of CodePen, but it's laid out better. Anyway, and then your results come over here on the right in the console, and you have a shell here too, but we won't get into that. But so it says, congrats, you got the correct answer. So there you go. It doesn't actually give you the answer, but obviously it's 2. But that's there's another JS that's running in the background that you don't really play with. That's the index.js, and that's what's running this. Basically the solution checker. So that's how that works. So you go over here to number 2, exercise 2, and let's check it out. And this one says you'll be working out of script.js. So we'll go to script.js. The code below tells the browser to ask you for a number. Then if that number is 6, it returns true, otherwise it returns false. Changes code so that it returns true when the number is greater than or equal to 10, and false if it is less than 10. So as it sits now, we have a variable called number that's the input of, takes the value of the enter number from the user, and the number they enter is sent through the prompt method, which is sent through the number function, which converts it to a number, and then that becomes the value of the variable number. And then you got another function here, number checker, it runs through. So it says if number is equal to triple equals is equal in value and in type. So we already got the type as number by this operation, so we know that both of those would be true. So if someone entered in 6, it would return true and exit the function. If they entered in 1, it would come through here. 1 does not equal 6. It will come down here. It will not return true because that's not a true statement, else it'll return false and exit the function, exit the if statement. So if you run it, enter number 1, it checks the console below this page. I'm not it's not showing it. Okay, that's kind of annoying. I'm not sure why it's not showing it. I literally don't have any experience with this program. It's brand new to me, but anyway, it would say false basically. It's doing what it's doing exactly what it's told to do here. So basically, we want to change it so that it returns true when the number is greater than or equal to 10, and false when it's less than 10. So you can probably see we're gonna change this, if simply put. So that's what I did. So all you do is do greater than sign with equal, and that says equal to or greater than number. So we change the value to 10. So the if statement will say if the number that is entered is equal to or greater than 10, it will return true. Else, or it'll bounce down if that isn't true, and then it'll return false. So if we run this, enter a number prompt, we'll just say 10. So it's should say true because it's going to be equal. And there is the console session. You entered 10 and got a result true. And then the other part of the JS, this spits out the test results, so you don't have to keep doing it over and over. Basically, you don't have to keep running the code over and over. If I enter 2, the result is false. That is correct. If I enter 12, the result's true. That is correct. And so on and so on. 6, 10, 9, false, true, false, correct, correct, correct. You passed all the tests. Continue to the next lesson. So there's that. And then exercise 3, you're going to be working on a math.js. So this says let's do some math. First, some rules first. Enter the operations, replacing the question mark. Make the computer do the work for you. Do not manually enter the answer. I love how they actually have to write this in here. Do not manually enter the answer. For example, 1 plus 10 would look like 1 plus 10. So basically, it took me a second to realize what they're actually wanting. So basically, what they're wanting you to do is to erase all this, and they're wanting you to put how the A constant would be calculated. So this is telling you right here 1 plus 80. So you would type in the numbers 1 plus 80, and then do that for each one. And then E is the sum of the previous 4, so you just add them up. And then this is ignored. This is part of the checker that doesn't export to the index that does your solution check. So going over to my Replit. So here you go. I'm just doing that for sake of time. We could have typed this out live together, but I just want to keep this video kind of short. So I've already done it for you. But there's 1 plus 8, 1 plus 8, 22 times 3, 22 times 3. C is the remainder of 5 and 4. 5 percent sign 4, if you remember from the reading, the percent sign is your remainder, so that will do 5 divided by 4, and then it will spit out the answer will be the remainder of that, because as you know, 5 does not go into 4 evenly. D is the variable A minus 17, so we're going to use the value variable A, which again, this is just an exercise, so it doesn't, if you were to actually put this in Vscode, try to run it in the browser, it's going to give you all kinds of failures because it's dependent upon what's inside the index.js. So this in itself won't work because we have other things that haven't been declared. But anyway, the variable A, which is right here, which is already going to be computed as 9, will be entered in here. So 9 minus 17 gets you D. And then this says the sum of the previous 4 variables. So then you just put in your other variables. So A plus B plus C plus D. So the value of the computation of A, B, C, and D will get you E. And then if you run that, it says, again, it's going to run it, and then it's going to export the modules over to index, and then index is going to write out to console. I won't show you the index. I'm not showing the indexes, index.js on any of these because it's not important. It's not part of the lessons for right now. I understand most of it based on what I've learned so far, but it's not part of the lesson. But so A is correct, B is correct, C is correct, D is correct, and E is correct. Congrats, you've solved all of them, and you may now move on to the next lesson. And the last one is exercise 4. You're going to be working on a follow.js. You go over here, bring up follow. And this is a little bit meatier. It's not terrible. It's kind of a multi-step. Everything we've done so far has just been a one-liner or one step to solution. This one's a couple. Be sure to uncomment the items under each step below the editable section. Be sure to comment out the entire last step. If your code fails to run, or you need to see you see a reference error in the console, make sure you've completed all the objectives. Don't forget you can put console.log anywhere in it to see where your values are at any time. That's pretty key. I didn't have to do that this time, but I'm sure debugging in the future that will find that very useful. And then step 1, take a look at this code and try to predict what it's going to do before running it. So that's the very first thing. So we just kind of walk down here to it. So we have a constant variable birth year of 1948. We have a constant this year of 1965. We have a constant first name of Carlos and double parens, meaning it's string. We have a constant last name string of Stevenson. Excuse me. And we have a constant greeting that's taken the value of hello, my name is string space first name, which is in this case Carlos, plus empty space string plus last name, which is Stevenson, empty string, and I am empty string, plus this year minus birth year. So it's going to take this year 1965 minus birth year 1948 as variables, and the solution of that, the difference, which is 17, will be put into that variable or that spot, and then space string years old, and then it's writing it out via console log. So that's what it's going to do, and if you run it, that's exactly what it does. Hello, my name is Carlos Stevenson, and I'm 17 years old. Congrats, move on to the next step. So if you go back to it, the next step is, after making your guesses, press run the dot. Okay, we did that already. Step 2, once you get a good handle on the code snippet, delete the entire code and follow the following instructions between the lines and try to recreate the snippet on your own. And basically it's just kind of walking you through pseudocode doing the exact same thing again. So I'm not going to delete it and recreate it, but you're basically going to recreate the exact same thing. I actually successfully did this when I did it on my try, but I didn't read it. I thought they meant put in your own variables, so I put in my name and a fake birth date and this year, and I changed everything. And then I got to the end where it did all that work, and then I hit run, and it kept saying it failed, and it said wrong information, wrong birth year. I'm like, what in the world? I didn't have this year for my variable. I used like current year, and it said that's where I started learning that I made a mistake, because it said that current year, something like current year was not. I should have took a screenshot of it, but it was like current year is not defined. Yeah, that's what it was. And I was like, how is that not defined? It's right here. But yeah, then I realized that they wanted literally the exact same thing verbatim. So just FYI there. And then once you do that, you have version of the code working. Let's go back over it and edit it to make it easier to read. After each step, make sure to run the code to make sure it still works. So what this has you do next is to go step 3, add 2 more variables, full name and age. So at this point now, I'm gonna walk over to mine. So here we go. I'm gonna kind of walk through this with you. It's easier when it's full screen like this. So we're gonna step 3, add 2 more variables, full name and age. So I added in full name, constant, full name equals first name plus space, empty space, string plus last name, and then age equals this year minus birth year. In the instructions, it says right here, do not simply type the full name, which I did originally. Do not simply type the full name and age into the new variables, but set them using the calculations that were originally done in the greetings. So basically you take what was in the greeting before and you add it up here so that the calculations are done in the declaration. So basically, and then you change, so that's how that got there. And then it says edit the greeting string to use full name and age instead of doing the calculations in the string itself. The greeting should look something like this: hello, my name is space and parens plus full name. So what I did was, then I created a new constant greeting, or changed it anyway. So you have constant greeting equals hello, my name is space, end quote, plus, you remember your plus sign is concatenation here. That's why you don't have to have parens on this. So full name, because this is a string. So full name is going to come up here and then do the calculation of first name plus last name. So you have first name, Carlos plus Stevenson with a space in between. This is important. If you get anything out of order, even a space, it will give you an error over here when you try to run it, and it will say that there's something like a typo or a space missing. Go back and check your syntax. And then plus, which is another concatenation, and then quote space I am a and I am space end quote plus another concatenation, and then this age is in parens because this is a value, not a string. It's going to spit out the year. So it'll be this year 1965 minus birth year 1948, which then gets wrote into age, and then age gets displayed, wrote out here, plus another concatenation, and then another. So it looks kind of confusing, but really it's not too bad. It's just with all the spaces, everything in pluses, you have to kind of work through it. Plus space years old. So I had to work with this a little bit to get it to work right. I had to go through a few iterations. I didn't get it right the first try. still learning, but and then you add your years old period and then end quote and then console.log going to read, and it's going to write out that that greeting to the console over here. So if you run it, it says, hello, my name is Carlos Stevenson and I'm 17 years old. It's blocking it. Congrats, move on to the next lesson. And that's it. I will say, to doubly check, when you go to step 3, you have to this stuff's originally not commented out. You have to go in and comment it out. I don't know exactly what it does. It has something to do with the way it's operating the checks on the index.js. So make sure you go in, and the easiest way I find to do this, there's probably a shortcut key, I just don't know what it is, but if you highlight everything, right click, go to command palette, and then you can add comment line, and this will comment it all out like that. And then this is the way it was before. So uncomment it, you highlight it again, command palette, and I just type in comment, add comment, remove line comment, and then removes it, and then you run it, and it successfully runs. This basically sets it through. I think this is the module export for the test group A, which I think is the first section, that step 1 and 2, where you're before you do all this, and then when you edit the code and add in the new variables and everything, you need to comment that out and uncomment this, because you see here now we have first name, last name, or we have, excuse me, that was already in there. We now have full name and age in here that we didn't have before. See? So yeah, you have to uncomment out, and it says right here too, be sure to comment out step 2. So then you comment this out, because I'm sure, we'll just do it on the fly here since we're kind of ahead of schedule here, got some good time here. If we uncomment out, I didn't try this, but just for fun, let's see, I think it'll probably error on us. Oh, well, yeah, it didn't. So, I don't really know. Comment below if you know what that actually does. So, yeah. So, with that said, we are done with this. And done with that section. And so, next time, we will be going into JavaScript Developer Tools, Section 3. So, moving right along. Not sure if that'll be fully done tomorrow or not, but we'll see how it goes. So so I hope you enjoyed the journey. Enjoyed the journey coming along with me today and learned something and had some fun at the same time. Please, if you would, like, share, and subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments below how you guys are doing with this and how you're getting it on with the fundamentals part 1 and 2 of JavaScript and all the information that they're pouring onto you. So it's a lot, but just take it a day at a time. Use your tomato timer and take breaks, and it's all good. And I won't belabor the video any longer. So until next time, see ya.